access YouTube after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to view the meeting remotely. To view remotely from a computer, please use the link below to join the public meeting webinar, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number and enter meeting ID. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and an email address. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those recently anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So we call the meeting to order at 6:05. And first we have public comment. Is there anybody from the committee that has public comment? Is there anybody from the public that has public comment? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go right into approval of minutes, April 30th, 2024. Those were emailed out to us for review. I would accept a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sue?
Aye.
Wendy? And Donna?
Aye.
Thank you.
Did Wendy say aye?
She did.
How come I can't hear Wendy?
I can hear. Oh.
Oh, there you are.
There she is. Okay. Ongoing business. Do we have any ongoing business, Julie? Okay, going into new business. Job description review and rating data collector.
And I was muted. So Linda McQuaid is here. She's the principal assessor. So her and I worked on drafting this job description. This position was just recently approved at town meeting for 19 hours. So since it's a new position, we created the job description and need a rating at home for it.
Do you have a recommendation for it based on what you saw?
Julie, I think it was approved for 25,000 at town meeting?
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
was, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's for 19 hours. There's no way that we can go over that. Is that correct? That's sorry.
Yeah, then we'd have to pay benefits.
Okay.
We're,
Okay.
we're
Uh,
around like the grade 8, 9 area, I would say.
Okay.
And then I'm looking at fiscal 24. I should actually look at fiscal 25 since we're right around the corner. Yeah, I would say the grade 7 to 8.
So did you say 8 or 9 or 7 to 8? I'm not sure, Julie.
7 to 8.
7 to 8?
So we were looking somewhere around like a max, I think around $25. So I think, where we're looking, it would be somewhere around grade 7.
So it's a standalone position that works directly for the assessor?
Correct.
Does anybody have any questions on the job description? Okay, looking for a recommendation, whether it's going to be a 7 or an 8.
So it calls for a high school diploma and or some real estate experience or an associate's degree. And at least 2 years of work experience.
Yeah, and this position would actually be ideal for an appraiser. This person would really need to have some building knowledge, field experience, because they're going to be measuring homes and verifying the data on our property record card and then entering it into our CAMA system.
Okay. So are they pretty independent in terms of when they go out on their own, or do they have someone with them, or what?
Yeah, they would go out on their own, probably do field work 2 days a week, and then be in the office the third day entering the data from the inspections into our CAMA system.
And they would have oversight from you, Linda?
Yes. We ideally need someone that does have some experience with field work.
And just curiosity, would they get mileage to go out to the locations? Would they use a town car?
No, we don't have a town car for the assessing department. It would be their own vehicle. That I'm aware of. We don't, Julie, right?
No.
So a 7 would start them at 2163, I think, based on the 25 rate, the 25 grid.
I'm look at 25. It starts at 22.28 for the 25 grid.
Oh, I see. Right. I'm sorry. I'm looking at we dropped one. Right. 2228.
And that goes
And
up to
goes up to
40. Yeah.
2740.
And the next 8 is 23.78 to 29.24.
I don't have the list in front of me. What's comparable in 7?
Oof, I don't have that either. Let me-
Oh, here, I got it.
You got it? All right. You
Yeah.
beat me.
Beach director, COA, SEALS, a meal site manager, principal assessing clerk. So that would be comparable, Linda, to a principal assessing clerk?
I think this would be a little bit higher than a clerk, in my opinion, just based on the
Yeah.
knowledge that they would need to perform the job.
And the assistant assessor, if we were to fill that position down the road, is a 9. So I think this would right below that. Do you
So
agree?
an 8 feels better?
Yes,
I think so.
So an 8's like a high-level administrative assistant, the assistant to the sewer manager, assistant town clerk. So that seems reasonable to me. An 8. What do you guys think?
Donna, Wendy?
Can't go higher. Step 2 then, right? Step 2, step 3.
That
Say that
would,
again.
8 would be 2378 to 2924.
Right.
Would they start at step 2 or 3 is what I think Wendy's asking.
Oh,
Well, as at the we couldn't hire anyone in beyond step 2 or 3.
well, we can hire anybody in at the rate that we think is appropriate, but let's make sure is it 8 or 7 first? It sounds like the
They're-
recommendation is that it be an 8.
But they're capped at 25 an hour.
If it went over, I'm sure we could find some funds to cover the excess.
Did you say 25 an hour or 25,000 for the budget?
Budget is 25,000.
Yeah, it isn't a cap for the money, it's a cap for the budget. Correct?
But at 25 an hour, at 19 hours a week, there's a tiny bit of wiggle room above that, but that's where it would get them.
Mhm.
They couldn't really go much above 25 an hour and not be above the 25,000 based on the number of hours in a week, unless the thought is they wouldn't necessarily work 19 a week.
Correct.
Mhm.
So I would make a recommendation that we consider putting this job at a grade 8. That's the first step.
Donna, do you have anything? Are you okay with the 8?
Yeah, I think the discussion's good. I'm sort of following what Wendy's saying. I don't have the grid in front of me, so, but I understand what you're all saying. I agree with Sue, step 1, grade 8.
Well, I'm not talking about steps at all. I'm just talking about the job description first. That's what we're talking about.
But
It's a brand new job
did
description
say-
first.
Fair enough.
I know, but just think about this. It's two separate things. One is the money and one is the job level. So is the 8 the appropriate level?
Yes,
And
I
it
think we
seems
all
like it
agree on
is.
the 8.
Yes.
Okay, so I misunderstood what you said, Sue, because I thought
Yeah.
you said step 1 is to decide on the job description. I get it now.
Correct.
And I thought you were talking about the grid.
So
So,
the motion
Can I have a
would be,
motion for step 8?
I make a motion that it be a step 8.
The grade 8.
Grade 8, sorry.
At grade 8, I'm sorry. Yep.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Sue?
Aye.
Donna?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Okay,
Thank
now step.
What
Well,
step gets
step-
them?
No steps. We're done with that. Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Linda.
Okay,
You're welcome to stay.
okay. Thank you very much. It was nice to meet all of you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Linda.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You
Yeah.
too.
So I'm sorry, what just happened? What was the step thing?
So the step doesn't matter until they actually have a candidate that they're going to hire. And then
Thank you. Okay, I get it. God,
It's been too long.
I'm out of practice.
it just puts us in a box around hiring someone. So if you hire someone seasoned, they may struggle with the idea of being a step, 2 or 3,
Mhm.
because traditionally your steps are based on the experience you come with.
Yeah.
That was my point. And I wasn't saying it should be a 7. I was just saying that with the budgetary constraint on the role, it was going to affect the step that's offered to any candidate.
Okay,
But I think whenever we find a candidate, whoever that is, then Linda in her budgeting process will have to try to
Get a
go
little-
back to the kitty, if you will, and say, I'm not hiring somebody until August and I have a little extra in the kitty. And so I think that if we put them in the right place where we can give them the right amount of money, then they can worry about where they're going to find extra if they need it.
Fair enough.
This group needs a little extra help, I think, to
Right.
hire the best quality people.
So now we're on revised job descriptions.
We're on step approval for new hire lifeguard.
I'm sorry, what? The
Step-
agenda online I printed doesn't have that. Did you not revise the agenda online?
He did, but it was
Oh.
later in the day. I attached it to the email.
It came at like
Yep.
close to 4. Julie sent an email that said, check. Because there's
Yeah.
been,
So I can read it for you if you'd like. It's the hiring of a new lifeguard. So we just need the step approval rate. The pay rate and the step approved is what I'm trying to say. It's been too long for me too, Donna. So Angela's here. She's the rec director. And hi. And she's been going through interviews to replace a few openings that we have. Found a candidate. I'll let her speak to the candidate and I did do a blurb as well. But basically this person has a year of experience working at in Lancaster, right, Angela?
No, this one is Benjamin Hill Pool. So is that Shirley?
Yes.
Shirley.
Yep. Go ahead. I'll let you explain.
Sure. So due to his experience, I would definitely like to try to start him at a step 2. Although it was one season, it was 2 years ago. He is redoing all of his his Red Cross things, his first aid, all that's redone. But he does have experience lifeguarding. The only thing he doesn't have experience with is like the teaching of swim lessons. So that is one thing to definitely consider. But other than that, I do think he's comparable to have a step 2 beginning spot.
And I can speak to his references. The references that I checked, it's funny, they basically said the same thing, that he's a great worker, one of the best that they've ever worked with, and the most trusted. Basically, what most trusted means is that he was given tasks and duties that would typically go to a manager level, like cash and so forth. And he works well with challenges and work well independently. So for those reasons, we're recommending starting him at a step 2.
So this would be grade 4, step 2,
Correct.
which is 1906 in 25.
In 24, 804 from July 1st. That will change to, 1906.
Okay.
So for the month of June, it'll be 1804.
Angela, will this disrupt anybody else you are hiring, that you have one person that's a little higher?
No, most of the rehiring, it's been a lot of rehiring. Everyone else, I think's all set. Yeah, the only other person doesn't have any experience, so I think we're all set for a step 1 there.
Then I make a recommendation that we accept the recommendation of the director and bring in the new person at grade 4, step 2.
I'll second that.
Second.
We lost Joanna?
Joanna's muted.
No, she's here. Oh, I can't see her. Okay.
She's here, but if she's talking, she's muted.
Yeah, her video is off and there we go.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, so we'll take a roll call vote. Yes. Sue
Yes. Aye.
and Donna.
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
Thanks, Angela.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting everyone.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So the next item on the revised agenda was discussion on creating temporary titles for section 70, which is the SAP-5. Let me see if I can. Let's see.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure, and I can try to.
Please.
Yeah.
New or changed positions. The Personnel Committee tentatively may add new job title and descriptions to this plan, establishing grades with minimum and maximum wage or salary bracket for the same, and reclassifying existing jobs, reflecting the description. Salary brackets and such addition or reclassification to be effective only for the period of time from the date such by the Personnel Committee to the date of any vote with respect thereto adopted at a subsequent town meeting. But in no case later than the next annual town meeting, unless such date has been specified by such vote. Any increase in wages or salaries under this section shall be effective only if funds are available for the purpose and approved by the Finance Committee and so.
So what
Is that what it says now, or is that what it is?
this is now.
So
This is current.
is there proposed change?
That is what I'm here for. So I'm bringing this for some clarification. We noticed that in times where an existing employee may have to pick up duties of another position outside of their position, not necessarily their grade, this doesn't speak to an interim or a temporary assignment. So in order to allow an employee to temporarily pick up added duties or act interim as someone position, we need to clarify that in here. So for instance, there's a clerical union employee right now that is pretty much in that same situation. And what we're looking for here is it's been difficult to recruit a land use director. The building commissioner has assumed a lot of those duties minus planning. This is not a planner, but he's taking on like the managing of the land use departments. So that's conservation, the planning department without the planning duties, conservation. Did I say that? I feel like I'm missing one over there. But other than Board of Health. So in order to be able to create a temporary position, this language to be revised to reflect that we can accommodate that.
So is there language in contracts that already allow that for people in the contracts?
You know, I don't know if there's exact language that we could steal from.
Right, because we just got this at 4:35, so I don't know what you want us to write.
I understand this was a last minute topic. So basically I just want some language to revise this section to include temporary or interim position. Oh, hold on, Sue. You're muted. Sue, you're muted. The wonky's going on. There we go.
Is the goal that we would do this because if a person like that takes on work, we would want to give them a different title and a different amount of money? Is that the goal?
That would be the goal, to be able to accommodate, you know, us as well as them. So taking on duties that need to be filled.
So we must have done this over a long period of time. What have we done in the past?
I can't think of a time when this came up, when we had an interim or a temporary position, so to speak.
But you haven't been in this role long enough to have
No.
known if it ever came up.
Right.
And I agree with Sue. This had to have happened before.
And
Yeah.
is temporary like a couple of months, or is temporary? I can see it if we think that the job might change and the land, in this example, the land use guy is going to take on that role forever. But it's really, they're taking on a role temporarily until someone can be found. Is that correct?
Yes, to assume these duties, to keep the workflow going between the departments and keep the land use departments. They need management of some sort. So this would be not the director because there's no planning involved, but it would be additional tasks added to the building commissioner role. So therefore, the job description is a temporary position.
So, Julie, are you saying that if someone is out sick or on vacation, that all of their job duties simply stop?
So we'll rephrase that. So that's a different thing. Like if most of us are one-man shows, right? So
Right.
most of it is just, well, you'll do it when you get back. But this is more of a long-term situation. The way it currently reads, it says new job title and descriptions with grades and wage. It doesn't tell us like, well, what do we do? Can we assign this temporarily, tack it on to this position? Like, it doesn't read that currently that we have that flexibility to be able to assign additional duties to a role and to be able to recognize that added responsibility.
So basically,
This is about the land use and the building commission of this particular situation, correct?
Correct.
And I just looked, they're both already the highest grade we have. So they're
Correct.
already being paid at the highest grade that we mostly utilize.
Correct.
Um,
So an option is because of that, the option we could do is an additional step within the grade where this isn't at a higher rate, so to speak, right? Because they're in the same grade. So what
Yeah.
we've done with clerical union position is give them a step increase until they're no longer doing these duties and revert back to their primary role, just as a way to compensate them. And this language doesn't read that way. So we'd need to,
So it needs some flexibility. You're trying
Yeah.
to put in some flexibility to allow the town manager, in this case, this is a town manager role, but that the town manager can do something unique to help compensate for the extra effort.
on a temporary basis, of course. Yes.
What do we do when the accounting manager left? Didn't she leave for quite a while before anybody was hired? Who picked
Yes.
up that work?
She was here. She stayed on until we
Ah.
found a replacement
Ah.
on a very part-time basis.
And so in other jobs, what I think Heather has done is hired a contractor to take
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're saying is that she's found an internal person that would take on the extra responsibility, but it seems like doing both jobs, it seems a little double dipping, in my opinion.
It's gonna
I understand, but
add 2 extra hours at least per week. So this position would go from, building commissioner is currently 36. So it'd go from 36 to 38 per week on a temporary basis and receive a step increase in this specific situation. But I want it to be a generic language, so to apply to anybody. What would the personnel committee recommend for a situation like this?
Why isn't there some sort of stipend?
yeah, I was thinking that too, Wendy. And the other question I had is that they're already at step 8. How can you give them a step increase if they're already at the top?
Well, in this situation, they're not, but that's a good question. As for the stipend, the SAP doesn't speak to that either. We did reach out to council on this.
A stipend would still have to be labor dollars. It couldn't really be just a stipend. It would have to be some kind of a labor hour rate.
Right.
I mean, I understand that we probably want to make sure that we give some flexibility so that the town manager has some flexibility. But so if they're adding 2 hours, that would mean that if they take this hourly rate, he's going to get 2 hours more pay already, just by means of adding 2 hours.
Correct.
In a what is the overtime, and do you sort of create language that allows for that to be paid at an overtime rate?
I wouldn't think so at a director level, at this 16 level.
They're still
I
doing
wouldn't think so either.
work out of their purview. I mean, you can be a director all day long, but if this is deemed, I think it's just looking, from what I'm getting, for some flexibility that in one case might be something small, and another case a little bit more. I mean, if somebody's out, whether it's an extended leave of absence, we can't fill a role for a long period of time. I mean, think about our town accountant role. That that was, when Karen left, that was vacant for a long time. If weren't willing, trust me, a contractor is not coming in for an El Cheapo rate. And for
But as Sue said, for 2 additional hours a week, they're already being compensated for an additional 2 hours per week.
That's
So
more for
they-
the time that they're doing the job, but I think, in recognition of thank you for taking on this extra work, even though, we're allotted 2 hours, it could be 4 hours. I mean, these are exempt positions. Just to keep the flow, it's almost like we have to compensate them in somehow. So what we're saying, a stipend, you look at the step increase basically being a stipend given per hour, essentially, rather than once a year. Because you can't really do it annually. One, because the SAP doesn't speak to it, but secondly, because this position might not go annually,
Right.
the temporary. So I think the cleanest way and what we've done, like I said, in one of the other unions, was give a step increase until, it resolves and they go back to their primary position.
So isn't what we really want to try to adapt the policy for is to give permission to make exceptions to the step adjustments in the event that the job has a fairly dramatic temporary change? I don't think we'd rewrite a new job description for it. That would, because it's only going temporary. We wouldn't need a new job description, but we need a mechanism to say, this is a unique situation. And like we just approved as step 2, why couldn't they come in and say, we have a unique situation and we want to raise this person for X period of time up one step, and then they go back.
Or
think-
are we talking about simple language to give the town manager the freedom,
Correct.
To- each situation individually? Something might be in one case small, in another case a really big, so we
Correct.
don't want the box with what we're saying.
Right.
So is it as simple as, adding in, a sentence or two here saying, allowing, in cases of blah, 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 town manager has the discretion to blah, blah, blah. And then at least there's some coverage for the one-offs.
So maybe 70.5 becomes new, changed, or temporary positions. Because
Yeah.
we're not really changing the position. It's not a new position, but those things do need to be categorized periodically. But a temporary change is just another element you could add to that. And I think Wendy's right. We just need to give somebody permission to say there are unique situations. You should be able to come and say, I want to invoke 70.5 because of this situation and I want to do this.
So my only thought with the job description, because it's not assuming the role of a position that we already have. So it's not that we're saying, okay, we want you to be land use director, which is an existing title. In this particular case, not going to be the land use director because he does not have a planning background and will not be doing any of the planning functions.
So
So
are
I-
we still using the contractual guy for planning?
Through mid-June. Yeah.
So we'll be paying him and the building inspector.
So he's doing planning and the building commissioner will not be doing planning. So the consultant is a planner.
But why isn't just the request for an exception to the step is about whatever the added additional job requirements are? Why would we need to have a new job description? It's like, so we have a person and they're going to, for a period of time, take on X. And because of that, we want to raise their step by 1 to accommodate that.
Because I
Because
think in a
it's temporary.
It is. I think in a typical circumstance, it would be, so-and-so's out on a leave of absence. We need you to take over that full role.
Yep.
Full role. And this, it's only pieces of it.
But if you
But
leave
even-
flexibility in the plan, it allows you to do whatever you need at that given time. The more words we put in a policy, the more constricted we are to that policy rather than having some flexibility. What's the unique situation for this particular one. And let them document it, and that's what we approve, is the documented request.
Right. No, I think for this section, I agree with that. I do think we should have a temporary job description for this situation. But that's another, this is step one right here.
Yeah.
Modifying this language to allow for these types of accommodations for long-term.
And if you said it's 2 to 3 hours of work, I'm struggling with that. We're gonna move him up a step for 35 hours in his regular job, but 2 hours of work to compensate.
Let's do this step one first, just to get through this language. It doesn't have to talk about compensation, so to speak, but
Well, I guess I'm confused on what step one is and what you want us to do.
step one is to modify this language to allow for the
So how do
flexibility.
you want it modified?
I think one way is to add temporary to the title, new change to temporary positions.
Okay, that works for me.
And then perhaps some additional line in there to say, you know, in any temporary or changed, you know, in a temporary role, you know, town manager has discretion to.
Yes,
And
that
then
works for me.
then it really just, it's there enough to justify it, but it's vague enough that, you know, it doesn't have to be something, you know, that it can be something small or something bigger if needed. They won't be revisited. They won't necessarily have to revisit this language, you know, 6 months from now.
And the verbiage isn't too bad. I mean, it may need a little adjusting, but Julie, it kind of reads with some flexibility in it.
Yeah, I would think so too. And you could simply add words like where it says, and such addition or reclassification to be effective, blah, blah, blah. Addition, reclassification, or additional duties.
Where are you, Donna? What sentence?
About halfway
Actually,
down.
I'm
Right here?
right where, yeah. The next line.
Oh,
where it says
addition.
Addition or reclassification. So addition, reclassification, or adjustment of duties or something like that.
Sign in temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Assign-
yeah, use the temporary word so that it, oh, temporary assignment.
Or would you just go in such addition, comma, reclassification, or interim position?
But it's not an interim position. I think that's what Julie was saying. It's interim position may be too restrictive. So for example, if let's say that the town decides that there are 3 duties that a particular job has that aren't getting done but need to. They're critical to be done, but they're not part of the scope of the entire job, that those that scope would change temporarily and it needs to be compensated at the discretion of, you know.
So my concern where we just inserted this, it says to be effective only for the period from date of such.
I hadn't got there yet, but I
Okay.
saw that already.
I'm like, do you
Because I
want
was
to
like, well, it's not going to require a vote at the town, you know, by town meeting.
well,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It will?
Yeah, we're changing 70-5, aren't we?
Yes.
Well, the policy will have to be got, but she's reading in it's almost like the position has to be,
Yeah,
the temporary nature of the position has to be approved.
that's the way it reads to me, Sue.
Right, it does.
And the whole point is to not have that, to give that flexibility to the manager.
Right.
Because again, how long are the expectation that someone would be taking on additional duties for a long period of time? There's a big difference between being a team player and, picking up a decent chunk of somebody else's job for a long period of time. I mean, sometimes getting things voted on, that can take an extended period of time.
So new or change does need to go before the broader audience, but the
yeah.
temporary doesn't. So maybe we try to find a way to put temporary a little as a unique position that doesn't have to go before, because it's only temporary in nature and it isn't a permanent change. So it wouldn't have to go before the annual town meeting.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if addressing this unique situation requires a separate section,
Policy
like
box.
70-6 or something.
I think you could just add another paragraph to it to say, and
That could be. Yep.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
to space
Yeah.
down here and, different language like,
think-
In cases of temporary reassignment or additional duties, town manager would have the discretion to
Recommend
Temporary.
additional,
Temporary
Uh,
duties,
right?
additional
Recommend
temporary.
additional compensation.
No, you had it right, Julie. In cases
Oh.
where temporary assignment or additional temporary duties,
oh, I see what you're saying.
town manager have discretion to recommend.
Should we say in like, well, I'm trying to think of the language, like a period of time, like, not extenuating maybe extenuating circumstances.
well,
Yeah,
temporary.
Temporary is temporary. I don't think,
I think temporary covers it.
I don't think you want to put it so finite that
Right.
we make a mistake and it's a little more than we thought. So
Yeah.
leaving it loose, that the town manager would have the ability to recommend additional compensation, or additional compensation is really what you're recommending, is that they give them an additional step. Because if it wasn't the 16s, it could be that the recommendation is they go from, let's say that they were a 10, whoever this might be in the future, and they become a person that has the responsibility of a 12, that they could recommend that they temporarily become a 12.
So, okay, so in cases where temporary assignments or additional temporary duties,
No, sorry, Julie. Or temporary additional job duties.
are what needed?
Move that.
Are
Are
warranted, needed, necessary.
warranted.
Warranted. Warranted's a
I
better word.
The town manager would have the ability to assign duties and responsibilities along with, let's just type this out.
Would have the authority.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You crack me up and get rid of the whole sentence.
Yeah. Can't find, you gotta keep me myself.
To make a recommendation.
But does that make it,
Recommend.
Recommend to who?
To recommend.
Would it come to the personnel committee like they come to us if they want a step increase, different? Would you
I
want-
I would think so.
Or do you get, I mean, the ultimate, would the town manager have the ultimate authority to do whatever she wanted?
That's my thought. By saying town manager, then we're not sort of pigeonholing it to, okay, now there's got to be a personnel committee meeting and it's got to get on the agenda and it's got to be like, that doesn't always roll super quickly. And then the town manager has to decide, it has to go into the next payrolls. Then there's more potential. If somebody's waiting a long time, then there's other retro, they may have to look at retro pay. I think if there is more ability to look at a situation in the moment and town manager makes that decision, it's just allowing things to flow better.
I agree with Wendy, because I think this is going to happen not frequently. And
Right.
we have to rely on that the town manager will understand the impact of it and wouldn't do anything foolish because it's going to disrupt everything. So I think that they should have some authority to do that.
I
Because
envision this being a complete Pandora's box.
Well, I think it's not
You're
going to
like,
happen that often.
I had to do X, Y, I had to change that light bulb. That's not my job. I need extra compensation.
That's why I'm saying, I think we need to set like a period of time. It can't just be, somebody's out on vacation. It's not meant for that purpose. It's not for, it's like an extended
Right.
period of time. In this case specifically, and I'm going to go back to the job description, in this case specifically, it's because we have not been able to find that land use director. So the job description would then show what these temporary assignments, the additional duties would be expected of them in this role.
So,
So-
well, maybe it's something about, in cases of, and give examples, in cases of, vacant, positions that have been vacant longer than X, if we want it, 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, or extended leaves of absences, because that's the other time that I could see this happening. Somebody goes out on a leave for 8 or 12 weeks and they end up being out, 24 or 32 weeks. They have a complication in a surgery or something else. I mean, we're unable to fill a role and somebody's out for an extended period of time from a role.
Mhm.
Because wouldn't we, if this was just, hey, I think now this position is going to do X and Y as well. That's a job, that's recreating, recrafting the job description, coming before personnel and saying, hey, new role, new title, seeking new, grade. That's why we're stressing. But to your point, we do have to quantify it to some degree so that we don't get, hey, so-and-so, was out 2 weeks on their vacation instead of 1. So I had to do X and Y. I want more money.
So could we phrase it such that, I don't know how exactly to say this, but to capture the spirit of the change here is to capture the extenuating circumstances of these types of things and not the normal everyday
Correct.
Occurrence of job roles.
So
Right.
in the absence of a vacant position while searching for a candidate is really what we're looking at, right?
No,
For
it
this-
could be,
For this particular
This
issue.
particular
yeah,
situation.
for this particular one, but it could be anything. Like Wendy said, extended leave, it could be, short-term disability turns into long-term disability.
Right. Or,
No, I don't think that's the same.
well, if somebody's doing additional, they're thinking that they're supporting another, somebody else supporting another role while somebody's out for 6 or 8 weeks, and that turns into 24 or 32 weeks plus, that's a big difference.
It's a
That
big
goes-
difference in their job role. Right? That's what you're saying, Wendy. Yeah.
This is doing my job and, half of so-and-so's job because, they their hand surgery was botched and, they were going to be back in 6 to 8 weeks. And now it's, 6 months later. The expectation that somebody just picks it up for a longer period of time, that length of time is not realistic.
I think Don is correct. It's very unusual circumstances, and I'm not sure exactly how we represent that. But Julie, my concern is you go back to creating a new job title and job description. That means that all that has to be approved as well. So it doesn't give it the flexibility that I think we need for this kind of an unusual situation.
Yeah, if the way that you guys are recommending this to go, to the town manager to be able to approve these assignments, I don't think we would need the job descriptions. Just be able to use judgment and make assignments as needed.
So that sentence we've tried to add to the bottom of this, I think if we use some terms about extenuating circumstances, this isn't the norm. So I'm not exactly sure how we write it, but I think that Don is correct that it has to be unique. And if only the town manager can make the recommendation, then I think it would be my hope that they would always make the right recommendation and not frivolous ones.
Is hardship's the right word for it?
No, I don't think so.
Unique and extenuating circumstances, maybe.
Yeah,
Melissa?
yeah, I could go with that because it's not so specific to make it restrictive. And
I
it gives
just
some,
worry, like saying extenuating circumstance, someone would say, well, 2 weeks is an extenuating
No,
circumstance.
but not everybody gets a vote here. The manager has to have the vote.
But just
the
for
town
consistency
manager.
purposes,
The
it's
town
easier.
manager, right. In private industry, you wouldn't have this because all that would happen is that maybe they'd get an extra bonus at the end of the year, but you would just
Maybe.
maybe, or you get
Maybe.
nothing except a slap on the back to say, good job done.
Yeah, maybe on your next review, you might get one extra little kudo, but get no more
Maybe.
money.
No more money.
So, as I read this, I don't even know if I want to say temporary assignments. That to me sounds like, well, we might give you a project here and there. I almost think I should just read in cases where temporary additional job duties and not.
Okay,
Okay.
Does that
okay.
make sense? Okay,
That's very specific, so that's helpful.
all right. Temporary. Look, I'm going to backspace Donna.
It's really temporary.
Okay, yeah, temporary. To unforeseen circumstances. We like extenuating.
Wait, I liked extenuating better.
It's
You
a
just
little broader.
oh, we're out here. Right, extenuating. I'll spell check later.
I think that's right.
Do we say will or shall?
Will.
Just say the town manager has the
Has.
authority.
To.
a change in compensation?
Um, hmm. Additional compensation? Supplemental? Supplemental would refer to above and beyond. Supplemental temporary compensation.
Yep. Good.
Again, just so we're protecting it, that somebody doesn't try to hang on to that once.
Yep.
That needs,
That helps. Does that get to where you think you need to be, Julie?
I think so. I'll share this with Heather, when she returns. And if I have to call a quick meeting to make adjustments, we'll do that. But I think this, yeah, I think this will work and we won't need to create temporary job descriptions.
I'm thinking that we need one more word in here, and it needs to be discretion, at the discretion of the town manager.
Agreed.
And maybe it just needs to say, begin the paragraph, at the discretion of the town manager in cases where
There you go.
temporary.
Yeah, that's a good point, Donna. So it isn't every director that's making these decisions.
Yeah, true. And that bounds who can say, well, you know, this is extenuating.
They have to take it to the town manager if they have a case.
Right.
Right, let's see if that works.
So Julie, would you send that to me so I can put it in the notes?
Sure.
That now that we've made those changes? I tried to pick it up, but we've changed it a few times. I want to make sure I get the right one.
Sure.
So that was a recommendation. We don't need a vote?
You'd need to vote because this is gonna have to go to fall town meeting because it's a change.
Do you want to see if she approves of that or if she thinks it needs more before we?
I would vote it, and then if she feels that it needs some work, then we'll come back and, you know, approve, reapprove the revised version.
Okay.
So I would accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I'm an aye. Wendy,
Aye.
Donna,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
that unanimously passes.
So we're not gonna do the job description review, which is the building commissioner / land use manager.
Did you say we now are or not?
Are not.
Oh, okay.
Because of the language we just created.
Correct.
Ah, got it.
No need for that. Universal language now.
Yeah.
All right, so can we move on to what the call was for, the job descriptions?
Yes.
Perfect.
So Julie, can you just help us understand there's a list. That's what I'm looking at, right? What is the yellow highlight? Because it's in development?
Yeah, so that was the one that didn't have complete job description. There was a page or two missing, so that one still
Okay.
needs to go. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the one that says needs reformatting?
That is, they use the HR consultants format, so I want to put it in our current format.
Gotcha. And all the rest of these have all of the sections that were part of the Winchendon classification.
Yeah, whatever revisions were made throughout the
Okay.
past year or so, whether it's just the weight adjustment to accommodate those sections, confidentiality, yeah.
And they'll all be have a similar look, right? All of the sections will be in order.
Yep.
As I'm sure they are, because I do remember many of these, but just making sure.
Some of them are, some are older and I still need to fix the headers and such, but the revisions
Okay.
that were discussed during the meetings have been incorporated.
Okay.
These are the positions that I had notes on that I made changes to. So if there's any that you feel that we have made changes to in addition to here, let me know and I can go back and listen to the meeting and see if I missed anything. But going through my stack of job descriptions and the handwritten changes between what Sue had given me and my own note, these are the description. A lot of them were minor, just changing the
Right.
weight and the physical demands.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Couple with the education, but I looked at them, they look like they represent what we anticipated they would be.
Good, good.
So do you want to take them one by one, read them all out loud, do one vote for 'em? Just so we know what we're approving tonight. We see it, but I know people listening or watching this won't know.
Yeah,
What was-
watching that. So can you share? If
This
you
list?
share the thing that has all the
Yep.
titles,
Okay.
then we could en masse approve them.
Just give me a second to get there.
Is there anyone else on the call?
No,
No, just the four of us. Five, sorry.
Yep.
So just for a visual, so those who come back and watch the meeting at a later date, or if we even want to reference it, now we can see what positions are being approved tonight. And then once the
Perfect.
vote is taken, this will go to the department head, town manager, and personnel chair for sign off through DocuSign.
Okay.
and this does not include any new, doesn't need to include any new like we did tonight. Is that right?
No, Look, the data collector does not need to be on here. No revisions. These are just the
Okay.
ones past year or so that we've made tweaks to.
Okay. Okay.
As we did the process. So, conservation, administrative assistant, assistant meal site manager, assistant town manager, HR, beach director, work clerk secretary, COA outreach assistant, COA outreach coordinator and development, COA van driver, dietary aide, DPW director, executive assistant to the town manager and select board, facilities director, land use director, library assistant, library page, mail site manager, network administrator, PAC manager, payroll and benefit contribution risk manager, police executive assistant needs reformatting because that was just approved at town meeting, principal assessor, public safety head clerk coordinator, reserve police officer, seasonal cemetery laborer, senior videographer, sewer business manager, staff librarian, tax collector, treasurer, videographer.
I would
That's
make
the
a
list.
motion that we accept the submission as read by the. How many are there? Anybody know? However many there are. 28. That we approve them as submitted.
Second. I have a question though.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't remember, and I don't have it quickly available to me. The meal site manager, was the title for that COA meal site manager, or has it always just been meal site manager?
I
'Cause all
think
the
it
other,
is,
you think it's COA?
I think so. I think just when I typed it up, I was just, yeah, lazy.
Because I think that all the other COA, it's in my recollection, the Council on Aging jobs kind of were easily grouped together.
Let me confirm that for you. Job title is meal site manager.
It is, okay. At some point in the future, it should be changed to be consistent with all the other job descriptions within that department. That's
Or-
just my own.
We could either get rid of the COA because the department is the Council on Aging. Well, yeah, and you know what I mean? So like the meal site manager job description says, the job title is meal site manager, part of Department Council on Aging. So
Yeah,
instead of
either way.
saying, yeah, just for consistency.
We
Well,
haven't
yeah.
used we haven't used the department title in any of the others, really, except for PAC.
Right.
Library assistant, library page.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
sure. Well, that denotes what they do.
Yeah, that's the actual job
At the
title.
library.
Well, and you can't take the department off because it would just be assistant and page.
Right.
That's true. Good point.
The assistant meal site manager is just that. It's not
Okay.
COA. But I
Okay.
completely understand what you're saying.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions? I'll take a roll call vote. I'm an aye. Sue,
Aye.
Donna,
Aye.
Wendy? It passes unanimously.
Okay. And that was it.
That was it.
Yep.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
No
Do we
public
have
here.
any committee comment? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn at 7:11.
So moved.
Thank you for all your hard work on this.
Oh, we need a second and we need a
Second.
vote.
Yeah, I just
Second.
want to say thank you to Julie.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
All in favor?
we're done. We're done.
Sue,
Yes, aye.
Donna,
Aye.
and Wendy. Okay.
I
have a
actually
great-
have we I do have a public comment.
Yes,
Oh,
Who's last meeting with us?
Oh, so.
Sue, we love
So
you.
how many
until
years
I
have you
finish
done
the
this?
minutes, then it's my last meeting.
You have to have them done by tomorrow then.
I see.
So how many years have you done this?
8.
8.
God love you.
Thank you for your service. 8 years is
Absolutely.
a long time.
Well, I think the last year put more work into it than the first 7.
Well, that's what they said. Joy personnel, they only meet once every 2-3 months.
Oh, I know. It's tricky.
We can't
15
follow.
minutes.
That was true until I came on.
That's true.
We've
That's true.
had a rigorous meeting schedule, at least the last 2.5.
We do.
Well, and we've done remarkable work. We all should be proud that we
I am very proud.
got this
I'm
done.
very proud of what we did as a group, not
Yeah.
having the skill or the background in the job tasks we were doing. I think we did a great job.
We
And
did,
that
and
was
we got it
really
approved.
guiding us. So I thank you all very, very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
Ditto.
Sue.
Thank
And
you,
thank
Sue.
you,
You're a
Julie.
superstar.
Yeah, thank you, Julie, for continuing to kind of move us forward. It's been good.
I try.
All right. It was
All
nice
right.
seeing you all.
Night.
Thank
Night,
you.
guys.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye.